Hello, sports fans. I hope you're having a great day today on this wonderful Tuesday afternoon, and I'd love to welcome you back to the SEC Now podcast series. We are starting episode 1, so I hope you guys tune in and listen to what's going on in the SEC sports world today. Unfortunately, my co-host, Blake Sims, could not be with me because he's with his family dealing with the issue I'm going to be discussing today. We were going to start a series on how successful Benny Snell of the UK Wildcats has been in recent games. But there is a problem far beyond the game of football happening right now, in which we need to talk about. Today we're not going to talk about the good side of sports, but we must talk about the bad. I'm Jake Puckett, and this is SEC Now. Tragedy has struck the game of football, and more importantly the nation. Someone's friend, someone's brother, someone's child. According to NBC News, we are in the middle of witnessing the quote-unquote worst epidemic that has affected athletes to this day. It's week 7 of the college football season, and over 20% of college football players in the SEC have died from a brain disease that has come in all the cases. If this rate is kept up, it has shown that over 50% of the college football players in the SEC will be killed off. This is just unheard of, and I'm thinking to myself, why and how and who and when? Well, you get the point. This is the U.S. in 2018. You would think we can catch any disease or any health problem in a flash and fix it right on the spot, but apparently not, because history tells us that epidemics like this are hard to detect when coming and hard to stop when active. Now, according to autopsies of the fallen players, the deaths have been linked back to advanced CTE, a degenerative disease of the brain found in people with high amounts of hormones affecting the amygdala, causing the brain to shut down even after just one hit. Now, this disease doesn't strike in a game, but happens after the fact. It attacks when the person is vulnerable, when the significant amount of negativity, depression, stress, whatever, attacks the hardest, which leads to the brain damaging itself and shutting off for good. Advanced CTE is a mental illness, a disease that can lead to the brain shutting down from all these effects and other symptoms if untreated. It is caused by the players tackling each other and repeated hitting in the head area, different from regular CTE, defined by a progressive disease of the brain found in people with a history of repetitive brain trauma, but not lethal unless led to self-harm. Advanced CTE is hard to detect because many of the symptoms are a lot like regular CTE. Now, research has shown that we can detect a difference between the two. Advanced CTE is shown when the ANK3 gene mutates, which can be caused by numerous concussions or repeated injuries to the head, and then this triggers mass amounts of hormones to flow into the brain, affecting the amygdala, which is the area of the brain that affects mood. This causes too much depression, anxiety, and stress that one can handle, which can eventually just shut down the brain. Theories are being tested on advanced CTE has stages to help better identify if it is legit or not. Stage 1 consists of dizziness, attention deficit, headaches, which can be normal in people who have suffered from a concussion or two. Stage 2 consists of memory loss, social behavioral problems, poor judgment of the individual. Stage 3 and 4 is when it gets really bad, such as speech impediments, processing disorders, tremors, and out-of-this-world depression and anxiety. Now let's be honest, we all have bad days and get stressed out every now and then, but when someone you know completely shuts down all happiness or normality within their lives, and they play football, you can kind of put the two together. With all this known, however, it is still close to impossible to detect advanced CTE before it's too late. But how did this all start? It's not like everybody just woke up one day with brain damage and fell dead the next, right? All these college athletes started showing symptoms of CTE in high school football games, but it did not start developing into life-threatening problems until they got to college. One hit to the head can now trigger the process, and if it's not caught fast, then it's game over. What is a teenager to do, though? Pressure from coaches, fans, and scouts made these athletes think it was normal for them to be feeling depressed, anxious, suffering from all these moods. Heck, I remember when I played football in high school and someone could just get clocked in the head, not think anything of it, and move on. Week 1 of college football rolls around in September, and that's when the first case showed up in South Carolina, and then that number increased from week 2 to week 3, and now we're in week 7, with it being on track to affect half the population of college football players in the SEC, and it started to spread to other conferences in the nation as well. Everyone is now scared for friends, family, and everyone who has played football and experienced CTE-like symptoms from head injuries. Playing football is now known to be a death wish, as the NCAA has shut down all programs and games and organized play until further notice. All football programs are looking into what they should do next, either taking many precautions before any contact is performed in later practices or games, or even shutting down the sport. The government has released a ban, finally, on all competitive and organized play indefinitely. I don't know why they didn't do it after the first 10 deaths, but, it will be interesting to see how it all plays out. So where do we go from here? What is America going to look like without its favorite pastime? You can't deny it. Everyone in this country loves football and can't get enough of it. We have heard of cases where football players have developed mental disorders before from this very reason, but only thought that it was really rare and, it wouldn't happen to me. Now we are seeing a developing epidemic on our hands like no other. It is literally a race against time to help all the players affected by these head injuries. We knew that football could be dangerous, but now we ask ourselves, where is the line drawn? Football is a job to one person and can be another person's dream. What will happen if that's taken away? I think that until it is proven how head injuries can be significantly, and I mean significantly, decreased in the sport, then it shall be playable again. We could put all these rules into place to protect injuries from happening, and it is fair to say that we have come a long way from the start of the sport in that aspect. But with so many people dying from a game that is supposed to be fun, come on now, Blake. How can we move forward? What has been done already to fix the issue? I believe the smartest thing that's happened so far is shutting down the sport until further notice. And the main way to fix the issue is prevention. Preventing anyone else who had head injuries from playing until there's a way to help them, and preventing further injuries from happening by figuring out ways to return the sport from being deadly to being fun. America seems to try to focus on a cure more than preventing the problem from even happening in the first place. So shifting that mindset will be a huge step on taking this epidemic head on and eventually beating it. Lives are at stake, and the one pointing the gun is the sport the SEC loves the most. This message does not just go out to sports fans, but everyone hates to see a disease take away loved ones. I believe we are in the right direction, though, and firmly believe that we will not lose half the population of our players here in the SEC. If you are listening to this, please just be aware of the ones around you and help them out. That's how we'll fight this thing. We'll be together. I'm Jake Puckett with SEC Now, and we'll see you next time.